All right, today we're doing something a little different. We're not going to be talking about command lines or step-by-step how-to guides. Instead, we are diving into something way more powerful, a mindset. This is about the thought process that really separates a junior admin from a senior troubleshooter, especially when everything feels like it's on fire. Let's get into it.
And yeah, that really gets to the heart of it, doesn't it? It's not because senior admins have somehow memorized every single error code. Nope. It's because they've learned to replace that gut reaction panic with a solid process. See, the real difference here isn't about how much you know. It's about how you think. It's all about having a calm, methodical approach that turns a full-blown crisis into just a puzzle. A puzzle to be solved, not some catastrophe you have to be afraid of.
Okay, so let's really dig into that critical moment. You know the one. An alert fires. A high-priority ticket just landed in your queue. The pressure is on. This is that exact fork in the road where the two mindsets, panic and poise, go in completely different directions. We've all seen that ticket, right? 100 times. It's broken. I can't get in. A beginner hears that, and their mind immediately jumps to, what server do I reboot? What service do I restart? But the senior admin, they know that statement is totally useless by itself. Their first move isn't to do something, it's to ask something. And here's where things get a little, well, counterintuitive. Our first instinct is to hunt for the broken part, right? But the expert approach is actually the opposite. You first need to confirm what still works. Because the things that are functioning correctly, those are the breadcrumbs that lead you straight to what's broken. Which brings us to, and I mean this, the single most important tool you have in your entire troubleshooting toolkit. It's not a piece of software, it's not some fancy command, it is one simple, clarifying question that can instantly bring order to absolute chaos. That's it. That is the magic question. This is what instantly slices the problem in half, and then in half again. Before you even think about checking a log file or restarting a service, you ask this. The answer you get immediately tells you where you need to start looking. So if the answer is just one user, okay, you can breathe a little easier. The whole environment isn't on fire. Your focus immediately shrinks way down. You start thinking local, right? Things that are unique to that one person, their session, their profile, maybe a weird permission. The core infrastructure is almost certainly okay. But what if it's some users? Well, now your whole approach has to shift. You're not looking at an individual anymore. You're hunting for a common thread. What do all of these affected users have in common? Are they all in the same delivery group? Are they all trying to launch the exact same app? The scope of the problem is now pointing you directly at a shared configuration or some specific resource. And then there's the big one. Everyone is down. This is the one that gets the heart racing, but your process keeps you grounded. If all users are affected, it means a central core piece of the puzzle has failed. You immediately start looking at the front door, the access layer, the authentication services. It's definitely serious, but your search is now incredibly focused. So, once you know who is affected, the very next question is where the problem is happening. A senior admin has this mental map. They visualize the user's entire connection process as a logical path, a journey with very distinct stages. Think about it like a journey with a few key checkpoints. Your job is to figure out which checkpoint they can't get past. First, can they log in? Yep. Okay, great. Move to the next one. Can they see their app icons? Yes. On to the next. Can they launch the app? No. Boom, that's it. You've found the failure point. The problem is happening right there, at one of these specific stages. And this is so important. Your primary goal isn't to guess what component failed. It's to pinpoint where in that 5-step journey everything came to a halt. I mean, if a user can't even log in, you're not going to waste your time checking the session hosts, right? You've already isolated the problem to the front end, to authentication and access. Okay, so let's put this all side by side. On one hand, you have the reactive, let's be honest, often chaotic approach of a beginner. And on the other, you've got the calm, methodical habits of a seasoned pro. I mean, just look at the difference here. The beginner's mindset, that just leads to panic. They start clicking around randomly, rebooting servers blindly, frantically copying and pasting fixes from Google, just hoping for a lucky break. The senior mindset, it's all about slowing down. They reproduce the issue. They compare what's working to what's broken. They think in layers. They don't just fix the problem. They fix it cleanly without creating 3 more in the process. And this is one of those fundamental truths you just have to internalize. These complex systems, like Citrix, they find a state of balance. When they break, it's almost never for no reason. Something changed. An update was applied, a network rule was tweaked, a GPO was modified. Your job is to become a detective and ask the most important question of all. What changed? So, as we start to wrap this up, I really want to drive home why this way of thinking is so much more valuable than any specific tool you could ever learn.
Look, the tools are always going to change, right? The Citrix console will look different in a few years. PowerShell commandlets will evolve. New monitoring tools will come and go. But the logical process, the process of scoping a problem, isolating its location, and asking methodical questions, that is timeless. That skill will serve you for your entire career.
So, the big question is, how do you actually build this skill? Well, it's not about cramming fixes from a textbook. You build it by showing up when things are broken, by resisting that initial gut punch of panic, and by constantly asking why. You know, real experience isn't just measured in years, it's measured in the number of times you've calmly walked yourself through this exact process.
Honestly, if you forget everything else we talked about today, please remember this one thing. You don't need to have the final answer in your head from the start. You just need to know the very next logical question to ask. That's the secret. That is the entire game. You know that feeling you get in your stomach when a major alert goes off? That little jolt of fear? That's actually a good sign. It means you care. The goal isn't to get rid of that feeling, but to transform it. By applying this mindset again and again, that initial fear will slowly morph into curiosity about the puzzle in front of you. And with enough repetition, that curiosity, well, that's what forges itself into unshakable confidence.